Hi, I'm Pam Cullen from 3 Mile Pond Girl Creates, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Augusta, Maine. And today I'd like to show you how I made these cards using the Beauty of the Earth suite in the new Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. So the first card that I made was right out of the catalog, right here on page 10 in the annual catalog. And I got the inspiration for this card from this card right here. And so I pretty much made that exactly like it was in the catalog, with the stamping with Versamark and heat embossing the sentiment. The only thing I changed up on this was I added a couple of the birds to the front of the card. But when I was working on this card, I was thinking, I wonder what it would look like to actually stamp the image in the blue space and maybe do something using one of the new products in that. So I changed my card up a little bit, and so this is the one we're going to be making today. And I did actually stamp the sentiment on directly on that. So that left this piece of vellum without stamping. And so I decided to use the new bark embossing folder to add a little bit more dimension to the front of the card. So let me show you the products we're going to be using. This is part of the suite. This is the Beauty of the Earth, Beauty of Friendship stamp set. And then you get these beautiful tree dies, and that's the name of it, Beautiful Trees. And then if you buy this as a bundle, you save 10%. But if you buy the suite, you also get this really nice bark embossing folder, which, like I mentioned, we're going to be using that today. And then you also get the designer series paper that's included in this kit. So let's just get started, and I'll show you the things that we're going to use as we go along. So let's show you the paper pieces that we're going to need. So you'll need a piece of soft suede that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. A piece of basic white that's 5 1/4 by 4 for the inside of the card. We have a piece of 3 3/4 by 5 for the front of the card. Some scrap basic white for stamping. Our piece of vellum for embossing, and a small piece of Mary Merlot that we're going to cut out these little birds. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece, this front piece, and we're going to put a little bit of color on that. And so we're going to use our Misty Moonlight ink and a blender brush. And this is not the Stampin' Up! Blender brush, because when I placed my order, they were on back order, and so I wasn't able to get them this time. But I believe that they are now back in stock, and they are so popular, and they're much better quality than these. So I would suggest that you definitely get this, and you get a set of 3 with that. So let me show you this. We're going to, like I mentioned, we're going to use the Misty Moonlight and our blender brush, and we're just going to blend some color on this front sheet. So let me show you. We're just going to ink that up really well, and I'm just using a piece of scrap because we want to take some of that ink off there, because we don't want it to be real heavy in the beginning. And then you're just going to start off your paper, and you're going to go in a circular motion and just add that color to your page. And so you're going to keep doing that. Again, go off the page until you get the desired color that you want for this. And I really prefer these blender brushes because I feel like you get a more even coloring of your page, and you really can control how much or how little you put on there. And they're just so great. There's so many options for how you can use these on your project. So that I believe they're a must-have for your craft room. So this is almost done here. And then there, I think that's good. So now we have that piece done. And then when you get done, you basically just rub the brush. You can wash it with soap and water, but you can just rub it until the ink comes off, and then you're good to go for your next time. So we're done with that. So let's go ahead and just finish up our stamping. There's not too terribly much on this piece, but we're going to go ahead and stamp that sentiment, and we're going to use the sentiment that says friendship refreshes the soul, and we're going to put that on the front left side of our project because that tree piece is going to go on the right. So we're just going to stamp that right over here on the left side. Here we go. Okay, so then we're going to stamp on the inside. On the inside piece, I just put another tree and "You truly inspire me" on there. So this is what we're going to do for the inside piece of our card. So we're just going to take that 4 1/4 by 5 piece, and we're going to take this little tree stamp, and we're going to stamp right over here on the side with that. We go again in our early espresso ink, and then we're going to use these two stamps, and it's a 2-step stamping. So you'll see on here that, it doesn't want to, oh, there we go. You'll see on this that there's 2 images, and one is more of an outline and one is more of a filler on here. So we're going to use this outline one first, and we're going to go ahead and just stamp right on that tree. There we go. And then we're going to use this filler, and with your photopolymers you can see through that, so you can see right where you need to stamp. So then you get this really pretty 2-tone image when you've only used one color, ink color, but you get that great shading on there. So I think that's a really, really nice nice stamp set. And so then we're just going to add, this time I used, the last card I used my Mossy Meadow on that, but I believe this time I'm going to go ahead and use the early espresso on this to just give it a little bit more of a contrast. So we're going to stamp that right here. There we go. All right, so the inside of our card is done. So the only other piece of stamping that we need to do at this point is we're going to stamp these. We're going to go ahead and stamp these 3 little shrubs for the front of the card. So we're just going to take that piece of scrap white that we have, and that, again, we're going to use those same 2 stamps that we used before, and we're going to go ahead and just stamp 3 of those images. I'm going to go ahead and stamp 3 of those images on this little piece of scrap. And again, it doesn't make any difference really. So let's see if I can do that again. Let's try this. It doesn't make any difference which one you use first. So then we're going to go ahead and use that filler. Let's see if this will fill this in. No. Okay, so there we have our images. And so then we would just take our die that goes with this, that fits right over this, and we would take that die and we're going to go ahead and run that through the cut and emboss machine, and we will get those pieces cut out. And I've already done that. So we have our 3 little pieces all ready to go. So then we're going to go ahead and use a couple of pieces of this designer series paper, and we're going to actually cut the pieces right out of this paper. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to use this nice bark one, and we're going to actually run this through the cut and emboss machine, and we will come out with this nice tree. You get this nice tree image out of that. So we're going to go ahead and use that tree. And then for the second one, we are going to use this piece here, this die here, and we're going to use it to do the same thing with this. And we end up with this pretty piece that's also going to go on our tree. And then we have our piece of vellum that we have run through the bark embossing folder. So what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and take your piece of vellum and line it up in there, close it up, run it through your cut and emboss machine, and then you're going to get this nice embossed image for you on your piece of vellum right there. So the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and take that piece of Mary Merlot, and we're going to use that small bird die, which it's one die, but it actually cuts the birds out individually on there. So you get two birds when you run that through. So we have all of our pieces cut and embossed and ready to go. So let's go ahead and start putting this card together. All right, there we go. Here's all our pieces. So to start with, we can just go ahead and put this image, this piece that we've blended and stamped right on the front of our card. I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue, put that right on the front. Right there, you want to try to line it up so you get some good borders all the way around your card, just the even borders. And the nice part about the liquid glue is that you have a couple of minutes there to make adjustments to that. And then we're going to glue these little shrub pieces onto the bottom, right along the edge here. See, so how you can see how versatile this set is, because on the inside we use this as a treetop, and on the outside we use it as shrubs. So you get a lot of versatility with this set. And I also think that this would be a nice set to use as a masculine card, because sometimes we find it challenging to find stamp sets and things to do a masculine card. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and put this piece of vellum on. And if you're familiar with working with vellum at all, it's really difficult to find some kind of adhesive that will put this down without showing through. So you have to get creative with either putting another image on top of that or finding something else. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product, but it's a really great, it's actually made for vellum, and it's called Plus Glue Tape, and it's specifically made for vellum. So we're just going to go ahead and put some of this right along this piece right here, and then we're going to kind of center it over those trees a little bit. And see, now let me hold that up and see, now we've put that on, and you can't see it all. You can't see where I've put that adhesive on there at all. So that's great. The next piece we're going to put on is we're going to go ahead and put this tree right over here on the side. So we're just going to take our glue and put it in some of the bigger places on this tree image. So you want to go real light with your glue here. It dries clear, but you just don't want to have whole great big gobs of glue on here, because it's difficult to, let's see, I should have my, we're going to need that in a minute, so I might just step away here and grab it. So then we're just going to line this up, and you kind of have to put this right down near the bottom for that tree to fit on this piece right here. So I have a baby wipe right here, and I'm just going to take that baby wipe, try to set that down a little bit so I'm not getting glue all over my fingers. There we go. I think that's going to stick eventually. There. So then I am going to grab here. This is a little adhesive mat, so you can do your gluing on here. So I could have actually done the same thing with that piece and should have, but we're going to take, I have a little sponge, a little half a piece of a sponge, and I find that this is the easiest way to put this adhesive on a piece like this, because there's so, I mean, you can dab it on there, but I just really like doing this. So I just take a small dab of glue, and you go ahead and tap your sponge in there and take some of that excess glue off, and then you just dab it on here, and it covers your piece really well, and it's not, you know, it spreads it out so you're not going to have a giant place where there's a lot of glue on there. So then this will dry and you can just rub it right off. So it's a great tool to use when you're doing gluing projects like this. So then we're going to just stick this, top right on this tree. And look at that, you know, no stamping involved for this piece. And you've got a gorgeous tree top to your tree. Looks like a fall project. Then we're going to go ahead and put our birds on. And for the birds, we're going to use just a couple of mini dimensionals. We're going to stick those right on the back of the bird. Fit right on there real nicely. And then we're going to stick one bird here. The other bird down here. There we go. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to take that stamped piece for our sentiment for the inside, glue that right on to the inside of our card. So I see when I open this up that I have a little smidge of that tree that's coming over the side of my card. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and trim that off. We're just going to take this off the side so it fits into your envelope without any issues. And it's not going to change, see, it doesn't change the look of that image at all, but you want to make sure that your image fits right inside, you know, fits inside your card base size. So there we go. There's our card. I think that's a pretty card that you could send to any one of your friends. And it's not hard, but I think it's a very nice card. So I will put all of the measurements and dimensions and all of the products that I use for this card on my website. And so I would like to know which card you like better. If you like the one with the stamping on here or the other one. So if you would, you know, make a comment and let me know which card you like better, I'd appreciate it. And if you're new to my channel, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe and hit the like button for that, for my channel. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. So if you want any more information, just please reach out to me. I would love to chat with you about that. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this card. Thanks for stopping by my channel, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.